Get a quick start here with Courtney Thompson in the back row, 3 hitters across the front.
The 25th anniversary edition of the NCAA Women's Volleyball National Championship is underway. Thompson will serve it up. And the passing error right out of the gate for Nebraska. And Washington gets the first point.
And right now we're seeing one of the weaknesses for Nebraska. They run an unusual offense called a 6-2. Because of that, they don't use that libero, that defensive specialist position. That makes Sarah Pavin a serving target at 6'5" in the back row.
And Hoteling is blocked by Washington. Sonia Tomasevich and Darla Myrie in the middle for the rejection, and a quick timeout by John Cook. And Courtney Thompson will serve once again. Again, it goes at Sarah Pavin. Hoteling down the line and got it in for the kill.
This is a matchup of 2 very different philosophies and 2 very different styles of volleyball. It's a lot like the slugger versus the boxer, or the George Foreman against Muhammad Ali. You've got the physically intimidating team in Nebraska against the quicker, smaller, perhaps more athletic Washington Huskies.
And a couple of unforced errors here in the early going from Nebraska.
And if you watch that rumble in the jungle, then that means Ali won, which
yes.
Washington is the Ali of this matchup.
Crystal Morrison back to serve. Griffin, the back sent to Elmer. Popped up by Candace Lee, one of the top defenders in the country. Nebraska with a free ball. They'll look to Pavin. The lefty. As it popped up. Tomasevich with the tip. Sally Moore was there. The pancake get from Thompson. Back row, Hoteling. Thompson able to get to it again. Larson.
A lot of tipping, lots of nerves out there.
Haggerty uses the block for the kill.
And the first player to really use a power shot ends up getting the point. Nobody can hold back in this match. Great defense, thanks to the pancake. Look at this by Courtney Thompson. Gets at her palm. Anything goes as long as you keep the ball from touching the floor. It can go off your head, your foot, your hand, you name it.
Larson's pass to Griffin. They'll go back to Pavin outside. Cross court for the kill.
Sarah Pavin, who is also considered a National Player of the Year candidate at 6'5", has competed with the Canadian national team and is one of Nebraska's most potent offensive weapons.
She was the Big 12 Player of the Year this season. Thompson bumps it to Haggerty. Long on the attack, trying to get over the top of that big Nebraska block.
And ball control critical for Washington. Nebraska, a great serving team, and they took the grip it and rip it philosophy of Tin Cup in the semifinal win, and they're doing it again tonight.
Larson with the ace. Jordan, the freshman from Upper Nebraska. Hometown of about 800 people. She was the conference rookie of the year and then gets too aggressive with that one.
Hard to believe her entire hometown could fit into one of these sections here at the Alamo Dome.
Really the story of the tradition and history of Nebraska volleyball. They have taken good players out of the state of Nebraska and made them great. And route to winning national championships, and another big block from Washington.
And Nebraska off to a very uncharacteristic slow start, hitting 0 as a team, meaning just errors early in game 1.
Griffin gets it to Elmer. Ball's back on the Nebraska side. Hoteling out of the back row. Christina Hoteling, the junior from Cambridge, Nebraska, has just been on a tear in the NCAA tournament. Was the regional MVP in Omaha and has been playing terrific here in San Antonio. Thompson to Tomasevich. Put back by Nebraska. And the block for the Huskers. Sarah Pavin and Tracy Stahl.
Just how good have these Huskers been blocking? They've led the nation 4 of the last 5 seasons, and this Husker nation knows all about blocking out of Nebraska.
#1 blocking team in the nation. They've only been outblocked 3 times this year, and again, the ace from Busboom. Nebraska on top. They've looked a little different coming out of that timeout that John Cook called very early to settle them down.
Very smart call. Just get them to refocus a bit.
Sonia Tomasevic gets the kill. The senior from Serbia, Montenegro.
A year ago listed as a senior as well, but granted an additional year of eligibility by the NCAA.
Because of her war-torn homeland, she did not get to Washington until after her 21st birthday. 25 years of age, and really taking advantage of the opportunity she's had in Seattle. A much different life than she left behind in Europe. Pavin on the serve. Thompson to Haggerty. Danny Busboom, the second of the setters in that 6-2 offense. Back row, Morrison blocked. Stalls and Hoteling put it back.
And anytime you watch a Nebraska block and they don't have to move their feet, Washington's in trouble. Look at this. They're standing right at their positions, just have to go straight up. Washington needs to move that offense around a little bit, make that block move.
5-1, Husker run, and another tough serve. That's 3 here in game 1 from 3 different servers.
And you talk to John Cook, and he says as good as our blocking and hitting was in our semifinal win against Santa Clara, it was the serving that was the difference. In fact, Santa Clara's coach, John Wallace, said it was by far the toughest serving team they've faced all season.
Candace Lee, the pass, Thompson, into Haggerty, and it gets over and falls on the Nebraska side.
Decided to have those rubber bed bracelets made with the team motto. Now 10,000 of them have been made and given to people that support the Husker Nation.
There's Hoteling going down to dig that one up. Pavin looked better on that swing. And she got the block. Point Nebraska. There's the bracelet over there on the right hand. Right wrist.
Tongaloa, one of the great assistants for that Nebraska squad, along with Lee Mays.
Pavin serving. Deasing has it blocked. 6th of the match for the Huskers, who have been equally impressive on their run to the championship match. Unbeaten, haven't dropped a game on the road to San Antonio.
And really the only difference when you look at their roads and their experience level is Washington, of course, played in the national semis a year ago. No player on this Nebraska roster has played in a national semi or final until today, so experience could become an issue.
It's only happened once before in the history of the tournament that a team has gone through and won the championship without dropping a game, and that was Texas, who did it back when they only had to win 5 games. They went 15-0 in 1988. Or 5 matches, excuse me. Sally Moore. Matches to Thompson and Morrison. Sally Moore will set Hoteling, and that's put back.
Well, Washington really going toe-to-toe with Nebraska. Coming in on paper, Nebraska certainly had the blocking edge.
Sometimes the focus is on the Huskies' hitting percentage, which was tops in the country, but their defense has been awfully good as well. Opponents averaging just 130 against them on the season. Showing it with the block and a couple of pancake digs already. Stalls will set Hotel. Track that down.
Good set.
Wilson looking for a touch. Did not get it. Point Washington.
And Nebraska's lack of ball control really affecting their ability at the net.
Nebraska has only lost game 1 in a match twice all season. They did come back to win both of those, but obviously never with the stakes this high. Game is to 30, must win by 2. Best 3 of 5 to win the match. And Myrie jumps on the overpass.
And there's one disadvantage of having that 6-2 offense. Your setter is always in the back row, so on an overpass, the setter cannot jump and attack that ball.
They continue to send it right to Pavin in the middle back. Here she is again on serve receive. Results in a free ball for Washington. Thompson, Morrison, blocked.
Boy, and you wonder, when is Nebraska going to make an adjustment and move Sarah Pavin out of that passing rotation? The block saves them here, and they get a point even though they shanked off of the serve. Pavin feeling a lot of pressure. She's really taking, you see her in the middle of the court. She's right back here in the middle of the court, wide open to serve to.
Unforced error again for Nebraska. We are at the national championship in NCAA women's volleyball. The 3-seed Washington, the top seed Nebraska. Beth Mullins and Heather Cox here in San Antonio. Courtney Thompson will serve with the lead. Cross-court Elmer with the kill. Here's what's at stake for the Huskies. Looking for their first national championship. Each team coming in with just one loss. Neither side has dropped a game in the NCAA tournament. Nebraska looking for its third national championship. Salmela and Mancuso. Tomasevic. Got it.
Both of them with the one loss. Both of those came in 5 games. Washington losing to UCLA, Nebraska to Texas in its last regular Big 12 match.
Mancuso blocked. And the quick set to Elmer, again put back. Pavin tips. Never pancake yet. Mancuso. And a net violation by Washington.
Right now, Nebraska has to cut down on the unforced error. Already 5 service errors in game 1.
Danny Mancuso on the serve. Thompson, back set Tomasevic. Thompson goes to Bree Haggerty. Pavin. Big swing from Pavin. And now Washington will call a timeout. Danny Mancuso serving for Nebraska. Candace Lee with Thompson. Setting Haggerty. Missed that one.
Amazing to see how many hitting errors we have seen so far tonight. 11 for Washington, 8 for Nebraska. Look at the numbers. That tells you just how high the quality of the opponent is and how much pressure they're under tonight.
And Nebraska was number 1 in the country, or Washington was. Nebraska was number 4 in the nation, so they were among the best all year long. As Washington has a point off the Nebraska net violation, and they are now 2 points away from taking the opening game.
Look for Candace Lee to go down the line, right back to Pavin.
Mancuso shades over to help out. Decent. Sets Haggerty. That's a little blocker with the set. 5 kills for Haggerty, and it is game point Washington. The All-American sends it down the line.
And that's what can happen when you get a good pass.
Luke Pavin out of Canada. A couple more game points here for Washington.
Ooh, that could have been help.
Haggerty. No telling. Chance here for the Huskies. Back row. Crystal Morrison. Turned over. The 3-seed takes game 1 over the top seed.
At 70%, 50% or better, they will win a match. Well, in the semis, they cited out a 73% rate, and tonight they're doing the same thing.
Underway here in game 2. And Nebraska starts out with the point. Of course, even though we're in the rally scoring system, all the coaches and players still refer to siding out from the old days of when the games went to 15.
And by that I mean what Washington's doing right now, and that is receiving serve. You have such high probability because you're the first one to take an offensive swing at the ball. You should have the advantage.
Exact opposite of game 1. It's Nebraska jumping out quickly. Christina Hotelling, the AVCA National Player of the Year, won that honor last night. A bit of a surprise to Hotelling, who is from a small town in Nebraska. Very humbling to her. A lot of folks probably thought her teammate Sarah Pavin or Sonia Tomasevich would get the honor. But Hotelling has had a fantastic season, has shown remarkable improvement this year over last.
And Hotelling said during the banquet, I was just there to support my teammates. When they said Christina, I didn't even think it was me. And then they said my last name, and she was truly stunned, humbled, and of course very honored. Interesting, Nebraska has not lost a game until this game 1 of the finals since losing to Texas in the last regular season Big 12 match. So it's interesting to see how they respond after sweeping through the entire tournament. They responded quite well here early in game 2.
Washington comes back with a point, and now Candace Lee will serve, the senior from Eugene, Oregon. All Pac-10 selection. One of the 8 All-Americans on the floor.
More All-Americans than ever before combined in a championship match.
Serving to Sarah Pavin. That's been the strategy here for the Huskies. And the serve receive. Haggerty, cross court, overpass. Deasing pounds it down. Here are the 8 All-Americans, 4 on each side of the net. Remarkable. The talent we've got inside the Alamo Dome in one of the most anticipated finals probably since 1998, when Long Beach and Penn State both went into the championship match unbeaten. And the Beach got the win that year.
Here's that double sub for Nebraska that they'll use throughout the match. Busboom comes in as the back row setter. She will now set 3 rotations. Then Maggie Griffin comes back in, so you constantly have 1 back row setter.
Setting Deasing in the middle, stalls. Couldn't pop it over. Washington. Tomasevich with the jump serve. Busboom setting up Pavin with the left hand. Long. Washington bounces back, now up 2.
Now Sarah Pavin in that right front position. We'll see if they try and serve short. Still trying to disrupt up there.
Sally Moore tools the block for the kill. And start. They won the Pac-10 championship for the 2nd year in a row. And tonight they've taken game 1 and are up in game 2, looking for their first ever national championship. This was a team that was dead last in the Pac-10 conference just 5 years ago before Jim McLaughlin arrived.
And Jim McLaughlin has brought just an inspired confidence and new tradition in such a hurry. And we talked about the fact that the national team wanted him, and it tells you how much this program means to him that he decided to stay.
Over the block for the kill.
Jim McLaughlin with an opportunity to become the first coach in the history of volleyball to win a championship for both men and women. You see what he's done at UW. Well, he also won a championship with the men at USC in 1990.
He's been an inspiration, Heather, not only to his team, but to a lot of the other coaches at Washington.
In fact, the football coach, Tyrone Willingham, walked by and saw the chalkboard that McLaughlin prepares. You see how detailed it is, and it is full of motivation. Tyrone Willingham actually took that chalkboard into his locker locker room to his football team and said, this team's number 2 in the country. This is why we need to do the same thing.
Nebraska nibbling away at the Washington lead. Timeout in game 2.
I don't think anybody would have thought they hit that low coming into this match.
Point Huskies on the kill for Sonia Tomasevic. The first ever Pac-10 Player of the Year. 6 kills now for her as she steps behind the service line. Great serve. Busting to Sally and Noah. Another good defensive play. The double contact called on Thompson.
Courtney Thompson turning and saying that's not a double. And after the great pancake dig by Tomasevic, so frustrating to hear that whistle blow. Thompson calling the plays. In between each play, she'll hold up 3 different signals, letting her hitters know what set she's setting them.
Haggerty off the block.
Boy, in such balance already. Courtney Thompson is a junior this year, but she's been a captain since her freshman year. That's the type of leader she is. She just doesn't settle for anything but perfection. Each night before she goes to bed, she watches tape of some of the world's best setters, players like Jeff Stork and Ricardo out of Brazil, tries to emulate them.
Lee kept it alive momentarily. Yeah, Thompson plays with that military-like precision. Same way off the court where she's an academic All-America. Her grandfather was a military man. Her brother, a Rhodes Scholar out of the Naval Academy. Decent, sliding behind. Got it down. Here's Courtney's mother, Linda.
Well, the entire Thompson family made the trek. Her grandparents are here. Her junior high school coach, Drew Terry, is here. And even that brother you talk about, Trevor, who's the Rhodes Scholar, came all the way in from Oxford to watch his sister play.
They are a small contingent, but they are a boisterous bunch. All the folks in purple here today. Nebraska comes back with a kill. Now starting to warm up her 7th kill, hitting at 267. She was negative for a while there in the opening game. Sally Moore has really been their most consistent weapon thus far. And Larson blocked. Morrison up there again.
Well, Washington inching closer and closer to being even with Nebraska. 7 blocks for Washington, 8 for Nebraska. That is a huge plus for Husky fans.
Huskers average an 8-block advantage in every match over the course of the season. Good turn, right at Donachich. Thompson looks to Morrison and gets it down.
Washington's transition has been just so good, turning defense into offense, and a very happy Thompson family.